Perfect. Awesome. So why are we here today, and what will we cover? So we have first a quick intro to the Personio Foundation and how we're making a difference also together. Then Anna will provide insight into nonprofit sector unique context. And we also have some resources for you at your hands, and outline a typical mentorship journey. And finally, of course, we have also time for your questions. Also, if you have questions during the presentation, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and then we'll address them at the end, or follow up if we don't have time. Basically, I created a quick Slido link. If it's okay for you, we would also do it even if we're a small group. So if you could take your phone and scan the QR code, or I'll also can quickly put the link into the chat. Here you go. And then we can start. So whenever you think about your first mentorship experience, being as a mentee or even as a mentor, what made it memorable? So you can share one word or several words. When you think about it, what would you say was the best part of it? Amazing. So we have truly impactful, understand different context, advice, helpful, tailored and relevant information, really stressing here the connection. That's nice. So thanks for sharing. Then if we go to the next one is, what do you think is the most important quality in a mentor? Of course, everything is important, but maybe you have one favorite one. Yeah, you already see it on the screen. I don't have to read it out, but great active listening. Amazing. Cool. Thanks. Maybe one experience I had, especially with the nonprofit sector, patience is also relevant. Especially if it's a different context, take the time to understand really their mission and their environment they operate in. Awesome. And then last question, just type in your biggest hope for this mentorship program. It might be like making an impact or learn more about the nonprofits in general. Anything is, of course, possible. I love it. Sharing is caring. It's always nice to be of help. That's amazing. And making an impact. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your inputs. And I would say we keep these reflection in our mind as we move forward to the presentation. So first of all, the Personio Foundation. Who are we? Quick refresher, you might have all heard of us. But the Personio Foundation is a nonprofit organization empowering emerging nonprofits and to unlock the power of people in those nonprofits. We support the nonprofits globally since our establishment 3.5 years ago now. And as it was part of Personio's 1% pledge commitment. So for all who don't know Personio, it's a successful HR SaaS company operating across Europe. And on the financial side, we've donated over 3 million to 15 organizations working in climate mitigation and education. And that's in form of unrestricted multi-year grants. And on the other hand, we are seeing a huge lack of HR processes, but also a lack of focus on people and culture topics in the nonprofit sector. That's really limiting the organization's efficiency, but also effectiveness, and also thus, limiting their operations and really their impact they could even accelerate. And that's why we decided go beyond this financial assistance, because HR matters in every organization, especially in nonprofits. So we created 3 free programs for nonprofits. They are globally for every nonprofit, not only for our 15 portfolio organizations. And on the one side, it's an HR accelerator. That's an HR learning platform with templates and courses around the employee lifecycle. Then the second one is the mentorship program. That's why we're here, where we connect HR experts like you with nonprofits. And we have a HR Conversations event series, really fostering knowledge and exchange within that community, to also foster that sense of community within nonprofit space. So you are accelerating our impact by being part of this mentorship program, and that's really great to see, and we're so much looking forward to have you on board. So talking about you being on board with the Personio Foundation, what is actually your impact? Through this program, we match seasoned HR experts like you with nonprofits to provide really critical support during their journey. For example, we have here Ross, our former CPO at Personio, who mentors then Henrike and her team at Project Together. And they meet on a monthly basis and tackle HR challenges and also their people headaches, and really enabling Henrike to confidentially execute on HR initiatives, but also share maybe some obstacles on the road where Ross can share also some learnings or how he would tackle it, or just ask the right questions, right? This is more like I would say, Europe-based match as an example. But we also have another success story from Grace and Natalie. So Grace is the founder of a grassroots organization in Kenya, and they didn't have any HR processes basically when they started the mentorship program. And their partnership has been a learning journey for both, actually, showcasing also the power of mentorship across these sectors. So we're having really somebody to discuss her HR and organizational goals is a game changer for Grace. And Natalie also learns more about the context, how to empower the women communities in Kenya. And really together, they are building the organization and empowering communities. And that's basically also your impact you're having with your organization, whatever they work on, basically. Cool. Then I would hand over to Anna to share more about the unique context of nonprofits.
Thanks. I think just following up on the mentorship of Grace, one thing that we've continuously encountered also with that mentorship is just really having somebody who holds you accountable for the things you promise to do. That makes such a difference already, right? And that's already the value that you provide for the organizations without the content that you're providing on top of that. But I also come from the private sector. And so for me, when I started working with nonprofits, there was a lot of new things. And I know, Stella, you said yourself, you also work for a nonprofit. So many of these things will be known to you or known to others in the call as well. But I think there's a few things I want to really highlight and stress because they have a significant impact on HR itself in the organizations. And the first thing is that we all know that, but the budget situation in NGOs is really volatile. Most funding is project-based. That means you apply with the German government, the EU, with donors for one single project. That might be 6 months of 1 year or something like that, and you can only get money for that specific project and only money for people who work in that specific project. That leads to often you have short-term contracts for staff. They're not on your continuous payroll. You cannot pay salaries that are above market standards or anything because it's very limiting what is in those projects descriptions. And sometimes, you work for a year to get such a big contract, and then you get it. All of a sudden, you have to hire 20 to 30 people, but you cannot give them a secure perspective on staying in the organization. So I think it makes recruiting really tough. It also makes employee security really tough. And you rarely have overhead budget to really focus on more strategic HR initiatives, focus on, for example, raising all the salaries in the organization or doing anything like that. So the budget situation is the first situation. And just to give a little bit of a note of context as well, you all read the news, and what Trump has announced with USAID is impacting the entire sector. It's not only impacting the ones who are working in development aid, but it's also impacting others because, one, it's such a massive donor that other donors have to start chipping in, and the money gets dragged away from projects. And it is also a big signal to the market where you see a lot of insecurity coming in. And the US makes the headlines, but it's not the only country that is scaling back on their development budgets. So the budget situation is really tight. The next thing is NGOs work in really tough working environments, right? They work on the hardest societal issues. They work on the hardest climate issues. They're really on the front lines, where you see a lot of misery, you see a lot of really bad situations. They're confronted with this every single day, and especially the teams in the fields, they have to endure a lot of physical constraints, basically. And I think so, more than in any other organization, psychological safety, time, ways to recover, ways to recuperate is incredibly important in NGOs. We have done several studies, and we've read a lot of papers where you see that burnout numbers in NGOs are much higher than in private sector companies. And there's also kind of this phenomenon that we call mission fatigue, where, people are so intrinsically motivated to work on an issue, be it, I don't know, climate justice or something, and you work against a massive system and you continue to push and push and push, and things only change very slowly. And on top of that, you have not the highest salary, it's tough working hours and all of that. And then people just, wear out without burning out. And the last thing is that there is very high stakes involved. NGO are accountable to so many people. They're accountable to their donors. Usually you don't only have one donor, you have a range of donors with very different expectations. Donors, just like us, always think they get it right and put a lot of requirements on the organizations without understanding the context. So there's a lot of accountability there. Then you have accountability towards beneficiaries who expect services from you, who expect you to provide a better situation. And often on top of that, you have an expectation from civil society or from political leaders even to do your work really well. Everybody expects, it's an NGO, they also have to have high ethical standards and all of that. And then guess what? Not everybody has that, or not everybody has time to live up to the highest standards. And there's enough pressure there as well. And so that's something that gets to the staff as well. Can you go to the next slide, Ellie? Thank you. So yeah, I think what's on the slide is it's a result of everything that I just said, right? You have very limited HR resources. You have very limited budgets on how to invest in it. Often people who work in HR, sometimes they're experts like you are. A lot of times it's an operations person who gets the HR role on top, or it's people who are right out of college who have some knowledge but no experience whatsoever, or HR still lies with the C-level leadership, and it's done the best they can but without any emphasis. And I think just being aware of the limitation of resources is important. It doesn't mean that we cannot do anything. And I've talked to a lot of leaders of high-profile NGOs who do very much with very little, and to just stress, one thing everybody can do is introduce regular one-on-ones, introduce feedback conversations, have training meetings or whatever, stuff that doesn't cost you a cent, but you just need to focus on it. And better than doing everything by the book and having great frameworks is to just get started. And that's something I think, Ili, that you said in the beginning, you need patience for. In the work we've done with all the organizations, you don't expect the kind of barriers that you come into, but one barrier we had, it's something that I just mentioned, is the organization just never had regular one-on-ones between a manager and a staffer. And just getting that concept into the heads of people that you have to have regular interaction between manager and staff was something that we needed to establish with them, right? So that's one effect. The other positive effect, but I think one that needs to be very well balanced, is most of the people working in NGOs are super internally driven. They're highly intrinsically motivated, and you have a very mission-driven culture. Everybody buys into the goal. So on the one side, it's easy to motivate people, but on the other side, it's a delicate balance. You cannot motivate solely on the mission, and a lot of organizations do that. They forget that you need to work on your culture, you need to work on paying good salaries, you need to work on having robust HR processes that make people happy in the long run. That's one thing. And the other thing is that you often have employees, full-time employees and volunteers with very different needs, but they're treated all the same. And that's a challenge for HR as well. And the last challenge is, I mean, you know more about that than I do, but talent acquisition in NGOs. We just did a recent salary benchmarking study in Germany. Entry-level salaries in the NGO sector are not bad. What is really bad is development path and career trajectories on the content perspective of it and the salary perspective of it. Oftentimes, when you come in as a program manager for the next 10 to 15 years, you maybe have a 5 to 10K increase in your salary, but you all know what you can increase your salary like in private sector. So there's a lot of challenges, and I think you do get a lot of motivated people, but you don't always get the right people, you don't always get the right skill set, and retaining them is really, really, really tough in nonprofits. Yeah, so it's not an easy challenge that you all have, but like we said, being there in the first place, helping all the HR leaders in the companies think through those things together with you, learning from the kind of things that you've done, that's such a big step already to fix the basics. Yeah, go ahead, Ellie, up to you.
Yeah, no, just thought this like the perfect transition to your role and also the timeline and resources a bit about that mentorship program. I will also, looking a bit at the time, will go through this one here more quickly, but you will receive all the resources afterwards as well. So whether you're already matched or will be soon, the program runs then for 6 to 12 months and is also quite flexible. Really start with, like after we connect you, start with a get to know call. So take the time to understand the organization's mission and impact. I think we already mentioned that before. And also discuss mutual expectations and set goals in the beginning. For example, if you would like to receive like discussion topics for your meeting 2 days or 3 days ahead of the meeting, I think that's totally fair and also helps them to hold them accountable, set that expectation right from the beginning. And I think that's like the most you can make out of that mentorship program. And of course, it must be a match on a personal level as well. So if it doesn't feel right, please let us know so we can coordinate also new pairing. That's totally fine. And it's better to know than just that you don't meet at all through the whole time. At the 3 and the 12-month mark, we send out a short survey form, which help us to measure the impact and also, of course, improve the program. So please provide feedback on these 2 like marks or milestones. And of course, you can also share additional feedback throughout the whole time. And also take time to celebrate achievements, even if they are small. I think that helps for the mentee as well to stay motivated. And but at least take some time after the 12-month mark to also share them with us. It's always nice. Then we can also promote that even better. Yes. I think you're all experienced already, but be the guide they need. Really listen, ask questions, and guide the mentee towards the solution. Build also trust that they can make their own decisions. And remember that mentorship is about guidance, not answers, and you're not expected to take on operational tasks. So I think that's also super important. You're not there extra HR manager, you're just there to ask the right questions and help them learn. So really what we can also recommend to commit to regular check-ins if they are monthly, for example, or bi-weekly. That will help to hold them accountable for the next steps as well. So here you can just see just talked about monthly meeting to see step by step what's helpful throughout the journey. It can be flexible, it can be a bi-weekly meeting, or even also a deep dive 1 month. You can also skip 1 month and only communicate via email or WhatsApp, depending on the need and also, of course, your capacity throughout time. But help your mentee structure the journey and stay on track with the agreed follow-ups or set up the cadence of your of your meetings right away in the beginning, and otherwise there's always a risk that it will fade out eventually. So that's not really fast, but mentees will have access to our HR Accelerator. That's an online learning platform. We will send out the link as well. You can log in. It's basically templates and tools around the employee lifecycle. And we will also send you a mentor guide with all the information, like more structure, question templates, and all the program details. But if you need additional resources, or there's something like a template you would love to have, or even something you can share, which we can share with everybody, please let us know. That would be super helpful. All right. Yeah, quickly going to the next steps. So reach out to your mentee, explore the resources. If there's any feedback, please let us know, especially also through the survey. And yeah, you're part of our team now. You're part of the Personio Foundation. So welcome to the team, first of all. And please also feel free to share that with your LinkedIn network, for example. You can highlight your contribution to social impact, and it helps us also to spread the word around the program. Yes. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Or anything you want to add or share something?
I'm sorry, that was really fast, but I mean, Eli is always available. You've all spoken to Eli before, but when something comes up in the mentorship, just feel free also to just reach out. We've worked with so many organizations. Maybe we had the same thing already, or maybe somebody in the community had the same situation. So very happy to discuss and just be there as a support as well.
Yeah. And you saw each other now as well. So if it would be beneficial to reach out, or that we connect you in that mentor group, which would maybe help you to exchange experience, that's also something we can organize, and would be happy to do so. Cool. All right. Then we hope that was helpful to give a bit more context. And then if there's anything else, please let us know. Otherwise, thank you so much for being there.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, Stella, you still had your hand up, or was it just waving?
Oh, just now, because you just mentioned like we can chip in some feedback and so on. Is there, or also connect among each other? Is there any tool that you already have that could be used? Like, I don't know, maybe you use Slack, and we could have like a separate little conversation box, because I mean, I don't know how big the group is, but I would feel it would be very useful to try.
Yeah, we can try that. I mean, we can set up a Slack group, invite you to that one, and just, yeah, try it out if it works, or if it's a silent group.